Hello everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. My name is Dominic and I'm the host of the Android Factory. In the last episode we went ahead and implemented image loading with Glide. If you missed it, I'd recommend checking it out here. We simply load this Bored Ape into our screen here with the image loading library Glide, and here we're just going to continue along with this image loading idea by using a new library called Picasso. So I've created another button here on the screen. When we click it, actually nothing happens, so we can kind of modify that really quickly here by just duplicating what this is, and then we are going to say the Picasso button. This has already been defined, as you can see here inside of our layout, and then we are just going to move ourselves to the Picasso image loading activity. But it's going to look and feel exactly the same as our Glide one here. When we click the load image, there's obviously nothing that is happening there. So if we bounce over to our Picasso image loading activity, we can see we've defined the same image URL, a button, and an image view. And like we did last time, we are just going to load something or load this image URL into the image view on the on click of this button. So let's go ahead and bounce over to, well, I guess this was our Glide documentation, but instead we will say Picasso Android. This is just a different library. It does the exact same thing. It's maybe slightly different syntax and whatnot, but it's just another image loading library that's built by Square actually. And so as we can see here, there is a little documentation about like how to actually use it that isn't in GitHub, so that's very nice. You can see here that you can load in individual assets, load something from a particular file, or even just a new file object. And then there's a handful of other things that you can kind of do with it. So what we're going to need is we're going to need this line of code here to actually import it into our project. So just like last time, we can open up our module build.gradle file. I'm going to go ahead and just put another comment there for this library, except, we're obviously going to need to resolve this here. So I think if we bounce over to their GitHub, 2.8 is the latest. So we can just very easily do 2.8. And then from here, we can just simply click sync now. It'll go ahead and download the Picasso library into our application, and we should be all good to go there. So if we scroll all the way back up to the top here, yep, this should look quite familiar. We're just going to simply copy and paste that. Again, we have a nice little one-liner here to actually load in a particular image URL. So with that, we can go ahead and rerun things here, and we should be able to start loading this image. If we go over to our Picasso library and we just click load image, boom, we have it just like that. So, definitely a shorter video here, but once we had everything up and running as far as the correct permission already inside of our application, really, the boilerplate or most basic version of this library usage looks quite similar to our Glide. If we go ahead and split it here, Picasso.get, glide.width, we call load, and then into a particular image view. So there's definitely a pattern here. It seems to be a pretty straightforward one, and one that absolutely makes sense as far as for us, for the developers. And so there are a few other things that we can kind of do differently between these libraries, but for now, just want to showcase basically how to actually use them in their most basic form, and then we'll dive into maybe some further differences between them in the coming episodes. So I know this was a short one, but if you made it this far, please give a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Consider subscribing if you do like the content, and as always, the code will be available on GitHub. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.